Food and community go hand in hand, and when you throw in nostalgia, few can resist. Granny's Baking Table in Springfield is a nod to the past. Their mission is to create a space that harkens to simpler times when baking was done from scratch and the table was for gathering and conversation. Owners Sonya Yelder and Todd Crosset will be the first to admit that operating a business based on small batch baking and going up against national chain coffee shops is far from easy. But their commitment is based on a belief that the best way to return downtown Springfield to the way it was is by doing exactly what they are doing. Producer Dave Fraser brings us the story.
It's 5:30 a.m. as the sun begins to rise over Springfield. Sonya Yelder and Todd Crosset have been at work for more than an hour in a tiny kitchen at 309 Bridge Street. They tiptoe around each other in some pretty tight quarters, sharing one oven in a building that was once a former dress shop.
It is working out of a food truck, and that's the only way I can describe the kitchen we have, is working out of a food truck. It's small, we produce as much as we can out of the small space that we have, and it works.
Up front, Sonya makes biscuits, pies, and muffins, while Todd works with laminated dough on the back table, making croissants and Danish.
When you first come in, we don't really talk. We just kind of do our own thing. You know, I got my own stuff, and I'm like, this. And then he's back there talking to himself, and which I don't do.
These are our Danishes. This is the Danish dough.
The two opened Granny's Baking Table in November of 2019 in downtown Springfield, just a few months before a pandemic would all but wipe out their customer base, as many businesses kept their employees at home.
Maybe not the best time to open. You know, you look back on things, and you're probably in a couple of years, I'll look back and go, maybe it was the best time for us to open. You know, because now we can say we survived a pandemic.
Just last month, Granny's had their official grand opening, complete with a ribbon cutting and a visit from the mayor. Both Sonya and Todd grew up in Springfield and recognize that downtown has changed a lot over the years.
This was the place to be. This was where people shopped. This is where people, dined. This is where people hung out. This is where they did everything. And it went away.
Some consultant once called downtown Springfield pale and stale. And I'd always complained about downtown Springfield because it was kind of boring. And one day I just said, well, what are you doing about it, Todd?
He started selling beignets, a French pastry featuring dough and powdered sugar, from a bicycle with a sidecar. Meanwhile, Sonya was running her own sandwich shop in the city's Forest Park neighborhood. The two partnered up to form Granny's Baking Table, named after Sonya's grandmother.
My grandmother was one of those rise at the crack of dawn. She made biscuits from scratch, You can still, because she's passed for many years now, taste like cakes that she made. I can still taste those things.
Granny's is a bit of a blast from the past. There is a simple menu displayed on a chalkboard. There are old black and white pictures on the wall. Some are of family members, others of random individuals that reflect the diversity of the city and its downtown. There is one long table for people to sit at, and oh yeah, no Wi-Fi.
Regardless of naysayers in the beginning who said, oh no, people are not going to go for that. They want little tiny, so they can sit. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want. I want people to sit around and have a conversation and get to know each other.
Food can bring people together. It can cross divides. It's a cultural phenomenon that breaks down barriers. And you add a table like this, one family table, and you put really good food in front of people, and everybody's enjoying it. People who would not normally talk to each other, talk to each other.